A father is struggling in a pharmacy to buy medicine for his daughter. Suddenly, Keanu Reeves entered and changed everything. Kindly like, share, and subscribe our channel to reach us 1,000 subscribers. Thank you. Let's start. It was a cold December evening, and the pharmacy was almost empty except for a few late-night shoppers. Daniel, a struggling single father, stood at the counter with a prescription slip trembling in his hand. His daughter, Emma, had been battling a persistent fever for days, and the doctor had finally prescribed a new, expensive medication that Daniel could barely afford. He glanced at his wallet, heart sinking as he counted the crumpled bills and loose coins. It wasn't enough. Swallowing his pride, he turned to the cashier. "I'll just take half the dose for now," he said, forcing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. The pharmacist hesitated. "I'm sorry, sir. We can't split this medication. You'll need the full amount." Defeated, Daniel stepped aside, his mind racing for alternatives. He considered calling a friend, but his pride got the better of him. As he stood there, lost in thought, the sound of a door chime jolted him. In walked a man wearing a beanie, a worn leather jacket, and an unassuming air. Daniel barely registered his presence until he heard the cashier gasp, "Oh my God, you're Keanu Reeves." Daniel's head snapped up. It was him. Keanu Reeves, Hollywood's most down-to-earth star, was standing just a few feet away, holding a small shopping basket. The actor offered a modest smile and nodded. "Hi, just picking up some cough drops." As Keanu approached the counter, his eyes fell on Daniel, who was still clutching the prescription slip. "Everything okay?" he asked, his voice warm and genuine. Daniel, flustered and embarrassed, managed a weak laugh. "Yeah, just a little short on cash for my daughter's medicine." Keanu's brow furrowed. "How much do you need?" No, it's fine," Daniel stammered. "I'll figure something out." But Keanu wasn't having it. Without a word, he pulled out his wallet and handed the cashier a credit card. "Add his total to mine," he said firmly. Daniel's eyes widened. "You don't have to do that," he protested. Keanu smiled. "I know, but I want to." The transaction was quick, and before Daniel could fully process what had happened, the medication was paid for. He stood there, holding the bag of life-saving medicine, overwhelmed with gratitude. "Thank you," he said, his voice breaking. "You have no idea what this means to me." Keanu placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Just take care of your daughter. That's what matters." As Keanu turned to leave, Daniel called out, "Wait, how can I ever repay you?" Keanu paused and gave him a thoughtful look. "Pay it forward," he said simply. "When you're in a position to help someone else, do it." The actor disappeared into the night, leaving Daniel standing there, tears streaming down his face. Daniel's life had not always been this difficult. Just 2 years ago, he was happily married to Laura, a vibrant and kind woman who brought light into every room she entered. They had built a modest but happy life together with their daughter, Emma, but their world came crashing down when Laura was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer. The diagnosis was a shock, and the treatment was grueling. Daniel had to juggle his job, Emma's care, and Laura's frequent hospital visits. Despite his best efforts, the cancer spread rapidly. Laura's final days were spent in hospice, surrounded by her family. She held Daniel's hand tightly in her last moments, whispering, "Take care of Emma, she'll need you." After Laura's death, Daniel was consumed by grief. He found it difficult to focus at work, and his performance suffered. Eventually, he lost his job. Without a steady income, he struggled to pay the mortgage, and the bank foreclosed on their home. He and Emma moved into a small, run-down apartment, where every month was a battle to keep the lights on and food on the table. Despite the challenges, Daniel never let Emma see the full extent of his struggles. He did his best to maintain a sense of normalcy for her, even as he quietly sacrificed his own needs. Nights were the hardest, when the silence brought memories of Laura and the life they once had. Earlier that day, conversation between Daniel and the doctor. In the sterile confines of the clinic, Daniel sat opposite Dr. Myers, who wore a look of concern. "Mr. Watson," the doctor began, "Emma's fever isn't responding to the usual medications. We need to try something stronger." "I'm prescribing this," he said, sliding a paper across the desk. "But I have to warn you, it's not cheap." Daniel's throat tightened. "How expensive are we talking?" Dr. Myers hesitated. "Around $120. I know it's a lot, but it's the most effective option we have right now. Daniel nodded slowly, his mind already racing. I'll figure it out, he said, though he had no idea how. The doctor leaned forward, his tone softening. I know this is tough. If you need assistance, there are programs that can help. Don't hesitate to reach out. Daniel forced a smile. Thanks, Doc. I'll manage. But as he walked out of the office, the weight of his situation pressed heavily on his chest. Later that evening, conversation between Keanu and the doctor. After helping Daniel at the pharmacy, Keanu waited outside, leaning against the wall as the cold air bit through his jacket. A few minutes later, he spotted Dr. Myers walking out of a nearby clinic. Dr. Myers? Keanu called, stepping forward. The doctor looked up, surprised. Mr. Reeves? This is unexpected. Can I help you? Keanu smiled faintly. Actually, I wanted to ask about a patient of yours. Daniel Watson? I just ran into him at the pharmacy. Dr. Myers sighed. Daniel, he's a good man, but he's been struggling ever since his wife passed. His daughter's been sick, and I know he's doing his best to keep things together. Keanu nodded thoughtfully. I helped him pay for the medication tonight. But is there anything else he might need? The doctor looked at Keanu, his expression softening. That's incredibly kind of you. Honestly, just knowing someone cares can make a world of difference. He's proud though. He's not the type to ask for help. Keanu's face grew serious. Sometimes people need a little nudge. Let me know if there's anything I can do for him or Emma. Quietly, of course. Dr. Myers extended a hand. The world needs more people like you, Mr. Reeves. Keanu shook his hand, offering a modest smile. I'm just trying to do my part. Months later, life began to improve for Daniel. Emma recovered fully, and Daniel found a better-paying job. One afternoon, while walking home, he spotted a homeless man sitting on the sidewalk, shivering in the cold. Remembering Keanu's words, he bought the man a warm meal and a coat. As Daniel handed over the items, the man looked up and smiled. Thank you.